Welcome to another deep dive. Today, we're going to be exploring some really fascinating ideas about AI, specifically how it could transform the world for the better.
Yeah, and what's really intriguing about this is that our source material is an essay called Machines of Loving Grace,
Okay.
written by Dario Amodei.
Now I know that name.
Yeah, you might recognize him as the CEO of Anthropic.
Right. Yeah. AI safety and research company, right?
Exactly, an AI safety and research company. And what's really interesting is that he's known for focusing on AI risks.
Yeah. The potential dangers, the downside.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But this essay takes a very different approach.
Yeah.
It explores the potential upsides of AI.
Okay.
And actually paints a surprisingly optimistic picture of the future. So
it's almost like a breath of fresh air.
Yeah.
Right? Like instead of all the doom and gloom we always hear about AI.
Right.
He's saying, hey, maybe things could actually get a lot better.
Yeah, and he doesn't just talk about it in vague terms. He actually lays out a roadmap for how AI could radically improve life in just the next 5 to 10 years.
5 to 10.
Yeah, and he gets really specific, focusing on 5 key areas.
Love it when people get specific.
Yeah, so those areas are biology and health.
Okay.
Neuroscience and mental health.
Got it.
Economic development and poverty.
Huge.
Peace and governance.
Okay.
And the future of work and meaning.
These are all massive topics.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to dive in.
We're going to unpack all of that in this deep dive.
Okay.
We're going to explore Amodei's optimistic predictions, and this is important.
Yeah.
We're going to ground them in kind of the realities of scientific progress.
Right.
We're not just going to take everything he says at face value.
Right, because things take time.
Exactly.
Even if you have a really powerful AI,
yeah,
it's not like it can wave a magic wand and suddenly all our problems are solved.
Right.
There are still limitations. There are still, physical processes that need to happen.
Exactly.
Research that needs to be done.
Exactly. So we'll bring a healthy dose of skepticism.
I like it.
Yeah.
But also, keep an open mind to the possibilities.
Yeah. And most importantly, we're going to relate it all back to you.
To me.
To the listener.
Oh, okay, to the listener.
Yeah, because at the end of the day,
yeah,
what matters is how these potential advancements could impact your life, your family, your future.
Yeah, that's what I care about.
Right.
That's what we all care about.
So let's start by getting a clear picture of what Amodei even means by powerful AI.
Okay.
He describes it as a country of geniuses in a data center.
Okay, that sounds pretty impressive, but what does that actually look like?
So think about it. Millions of AI instances.
Millions.
Each one smarter than a Nobel Prize winner.
Okay.
Across multiple fields.
Yeah,
and they're all working together.
So not just, individual AIs.
No, they can work individually, but they can also work collaboratively.
Collaborating. Okay.
Yeah.
So what can they actually do then?
I mean, they could design experiments, they could write code, they could analyze data at speeds that we can only imagine.
Okay.
Amodei even suggests they could write better novels than humans.
Okay, so it's not just about crunching numbers and doing calculations. Yeah. It's about creativity. It's about
problem solving.
Problem solving. Okay.
Problem solving, okay.
At a whole different level.
So it's not just speed, it's a whole different level of intelligence.
Exactly. And he emphasizes that they would have human-like virtual interfaces.
What does that mean?
So think text, video, internet.
Okay.
They'd be able to communicate and interact in ways that feel familiar to us.
Okay.
And crucially, they'd be capable of working autonomously on these long-term complex tasks.
So they don't need constant human supervision?
Not necessarily.
Okay.
They can be given a goal and then, work towards that goal.
Okay, that's starting to paint a pretty radical picture of the future. But it's important to note that he also makes it clear that these AI aren't magical.
Right.
They're still bound by the laws of physics.
Right, they can't just bend reality.
Exactly. They can't, wish away the need for instance, physical experiments.
Or the time it takes to develop new hardware, for example.
Exactly.
Still need to build things in the real world.
Exactly. And he even has this really interesting idea that he calls marginal returns to intelligence.
Marginal returns to intelligence.
Yeah.
Break that down for me.
Essentially, it's a way of thinking about how much more intelligence actually speeds up progress.
Okay.
So sure, AI can solve problems really fast.
Right.
But some things just take time.
Right.
Imagine an AI designing the perfect cure for a disease.
Okay.
Sounds amazing.
Yeah, it does.
But actually manufacturing that cure at scale, distributing it, ensuring its safety, those things still take time and resources.
So it's kind of like having like a super fast chef
who
can come up with the most incredible recipes.
Yeah.
But then still needs time to gather the ingredients, cook the dish, plate it beautifully.
That's a great analogy.
Okay.
It really highlights Amodei's point that, we need to be realistic about what AI can and can't change and how quickly those changes can happen.
Okay.
He's asking us to kind of question our assumptions and think critically about what a future with powerful AI might really look like.
That's a really important point to keep in mind, I think.
Yeah.
Because it's easy to get carried away with the hype and think that, AI is going to come in and solve all our problems overnight.
Right.
But it's more complex than that.
It's more nuanced.
Exactly.
Yeah. So with that understanding in mind, let's dive into the first area.
Okay.
Where Amodei sees AI having this transformative impact biology and health.
Okay, health. That's a big one.
Yeah, and he makes a pretty bold claim right off the bat.
Okay, I like bold claims.
He says AI could deliver 50 to 100 years.
50 to 100 years?
Of biological progress in just 5 to 10 years.
Okay, now that sounds like science fiction.
It does sound a bit like science fiction.
How could that even be possible?
Well, he's not talking about AI just analyzing data faster.
Okay.
He's talking about AI acting as a kind of a virtual biologist, designing experiments, inventing tools, essentially turbocharging the entire research process.
So instead of like researchers spending years poring over data, conducting experiments, the AI could do it in a fraction of the time.
Exactly.
Oh, great.
Imagine AI combing through like decades of research, identifying promising leads that humans might have missed, even designing new experiments to test those leads.
Wow.
All at incredible speeds.
Okay, so what would this compressed 21st century, as he calls it?
Yeah, the compressed 21st century.
What would that actually look like?
Well, he starts with what might be the most impactful possibility.
Okay, hit me.
Eradicating infectious diseases.
No more diseases.
Well, building on technologies like mRNA vaccines.
Okay.
He suggests that we could essentially have a vaccine for anything.
So no more flu season.
Potential.
No more worrying about pandemics.
That's the idea.
Like the one we just went through.
Exactly.
That would be life-changing.
Absolutely. And it's not just about vaccines.
Right.
He also talks about eliminating most cancers.
Most cancer.
Through early detection and personalized treatments.
So instead of like undergoing grueling chemotherapy and radiation, AI could help us catch it early.
Exactly.
And develop treatments that are tailored to us.
Tailored to our specific genetic makeup.
Okay.
And it goes even further.
Right.
He believes that we'll see the prevention and even cure of most genetic diseases.
Most genetic diseases.
Now, he acknowledges that there are challenges, especially with like whole body conditions that affect a large number of cells.
Okay.
But even there, he's optimistic about AI's potential to develop groundbreaking therapy.
This is starting to sound pretty incredible.
It is.
Like, it's almost hard to even wrap my head around a future where disease is, like, largely a thing of the past.
It's a profound thought.
It is.
And he doesn't stop there.
Oh, there's more.
He even talks about biological freedom.
Biological freedom.
Meaning unprecedented control.
Control over
things like weight,
appearance,
and reproduction.
Whoa. Okay, so we're talking about designer babies.
Potentially.
Personalized medicine.
Yeah.
Basically rewriting the rules of human biology.
It does.
This is like something out of a movie.
It does sound like science fiction, but Amodei argues that these possibilities are closer than we think.
Okay.
And it's not just about superficial changes. Imagine being able to eliminate the genetic predisposition to diseases like Alzheimer's, heart disease, things that we fear as we get older.
Yeah, absolutely.
That would be incredible.
It would.
And speaking of aging, what does Amodei say about AI's potential to help us live longer?
Okay, yeah, I'm all ears.
He predicts a doubling of the human lifespan.
Doubling
to 150 years.
150 years. What?
He argues that just like life expectancy basically doubled in the 20th century, AI could push us even further.
Even further.
Potentially allowing us to live indefinitely.
Indefinitely? Okay, now my mind is officially blown.
Yeah.
So imagine a world where disease is a distant memory.
Yeah.
And living to 150 is the norm.
It's a profound thought, isn't it?
It really is. What would that mean for society?
Yeah.
For families, for individuals?
It raises all sorts of questions.
It does.
But before we get into those implications, let's move on to the second area that Amodei covers, which is the equally fascinating world of neuroscience and the mind.
Neuroscience and the mind. Okay, bring it on. Okay, so we've talked about how AI could, like, revolutionize biology and, potentially even eradicate diseases, even double our lifespan.
Yeah.
But what about our minds? Can AI have a similar impact on our mental well-being?
That's exactly what Amodei dives into next. He argues that if AI can transform biology, it can absolutely transform neuroscience too.
Okay.
After all, it's all connected.
Right. It's all part of the same, human system.
Yeah. And when you think about the potential impact on mental health, I mean, it's potentially just as radical as those advances in physical health that we just discussed.
Because let's face it, mental health is just as important as physical health.
Absolutely.
For our overall well-being.
Yeah, we're talking about conditions like depression, anxiety, schizophrenia.
Yeah, these things impact millions of people.
Millions.
Around the world.
Yeah. And Amodei sees AI making progress here in 4 key ways.
4 key ways. Okay, lay it on me.
All right, so first, AI can accelerate traditional research methods in things like molecular biology, chemistry, genetics.
Okay.
This could lead to the development of, more effective drugs and therapies.
All right, so we're talking better medications.
Potentially.
With fewer side effects.
Yeah, maybe even personalized treatments.
Okay.
Tailored to our individual brain chemistry.
Okay, that sounds pretty good.
Yes. Second could help us develop incredibly precise tools for measuring and intervening in brain activity.
Whoa. Okay, so what does that mean?
So think optogenetics on steroids.
Optogenetics on steroids.
Yeah. Amodei envisions us being able to target specific neurons and circuits with incredible accuracy, leading to highly targeted treatment.
Okay, hold on. Back up for a second.
Yeah.
Optogenetics, for those of us who haven't been, brushing up on our neuroscience.
Sure.
What exactly is that?
In the simplest terms, it's a technique that allows scientists to control the activity of neurons using light.
Using light.
Yeah. So by introducing specific genes into brain cells, researchers can make those cells sensitive to light.
I see.
Then they can shine light onto those cells to either activate them or inhibit them.
So Amodei is suggesting that AI could take this to a whole other level.
Right. Imagine being able to target individual neurons or even small groups of neurons with incredible precision, not just large areas of the brain.
So very, very targeted.
Very targeted.
Yeah.
This could revolutionize our understanding of how the brain works and lead to these incredibly targeted therapies.
Or mental health conditions.
Exactly.
Okay, that's starting to make sense.
Okay, good.
So better drugs, better tools.
Yeah.
What's the third way that Amodei sees AI transforming neuroscience?
This one's particularly interesting.
Okay.
Amodei believes that AI could unlock major breakthroughs in computational neuroscience.
Computational neuroscience, okay.
Leveraging insights from AI itself.
So AI studying the brain.
Yeah.
To help us understand the brain better. That's pretty meta.
It is. It's very meta.
Okay.
But by analyzing vast amounts of data from brain imaging, genetic studies, even behavioral observations, AI could help us uncover patterns in relationships.
That we might never have noticed on our own.
It makes sense. AI is already proving to be really good at spotting patterns, making predictions.
Yeah. Exactly.
Okay, so better drugs, incredibly precise tools, AI-powered insights into the brain. What's the fourth one?
Okay, the fourth one, this is where it gets really interesting.
Okay.
Amodei sees a huge potential for AI-powered behavioral interventions.
Yeah.
And even what he calls AI coaches.
AI coaches, what?
To help us with personal growth and development.
So an AI therapist?
Yeah, kind of think about it. What if you had an AI that could analyze your mood, your sleep patterns, your productivity, even your social interactions.
Yeah, okay.
And then provide personalized advice and support to help you achieve your goals and improve your overall well-being.
So it's kind of like a personal therapist and a life coach rolled into one.
Exactly.
Powered by AI.
Powered by AI, that's the key.
Well, okay, that's pretty futuristic.
It is, and Amodei believes that these AI coaches could be incredibly effective.
Yeah.
Because they could learn and adapt to our individual needs and preferences over time.
So the more you use it, the better it gets to know you.
Exactly.
And the more tailored its advice becomes.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've got all these different pieces of the puzzle.
Yeah.
Better drugs, these incredibly precise tools, AI-powered insights into the brain, personalized AI coaches.
Yeah.
Where does all this lead?
Well, Amodei believes that all of this together
Yeah.
could potentially lead to most mental illnesses, even those that we consider incurable today,
Okay.
being effectively treated or even cured entirely.
Cured entirely.
We're talking about conditions like depression, PTSD,
Yeah.
addiction,
Okay.
even schizophrenia.
Okay. That's
Yeah.
a world where mental suffering is minimized.
Yeah,
That's a powerful vision.
it is, and he doesn't stop there.
He doesn't.
Amodei even suggests that AI could help us address what he calls structural brain conditions,
Structural brain conditions.
like
psychopathy, which are often thought to be untreatable.
Wait, are we talking about rewiring the brains of psychopaths?
I mean, that's kind of what he's hinting at.
That sounds pretty ethically complex.
It is. It's definitely a sensitive topic.
Yeah.
And Amodei acknowledges the challenges, but he's open to the possibility that AI could help us kind of coax the brain into a more malleable state.
I see.
Making it possible to address even these deeply ingrained conditions.
So it's a bold idea.
Very bold.
But it's a sign of just how radically he's thinking about AI's potential to reshape our understanding of mental health.
Exactly.
Okay, so cures for mental illness, the possibility of addressing these like really deep-seated brain conditions.
Yeah.
What else?
So he also talks about the genetic prevention of mental illness through embryo screening.
Okay, so this builds on his predictions.
It does.
About preventing genetic diseases in general.
Exactly. He sees AI playing this crucial role in identifying the genetic factors that contribute to mental illness.
Got it.
And making it possible to screen embryos to prevent these conditions.
Okay, but that definitely raises some ethical questions.
It does. It does.
Like, are we comfortable with the idea of designer babies being screened for, mental health traits?
It's a very slippery slope.
It is, yeah.
Amodei acknowledges that this would be a sensitive area.
Yeah.
But he suggests that most people would likely support screening for, severe or debilitating mental illnesses.
Yeah, I can see that.
Right. If you could prevent a child from being born with a severe mental illness, that would cause them a lot of suffering.
Yeah.
Most people would probably say yes to that.
Yeah, that's understandable.
But let's shift gears a bit and talk about the more everyday struggles that Amodei mentions. He believes that AI can also help us with problems that we don't necessarily even think of as illnesses.
Right, like the things that we all struggle with.
Exactly. Things like anger management. Focus, anxiety, even just feeling more alert and energized.
Right. Yeah, like if you could just get, a boost.
Yeah, like little cognitive boost.
Yeah.
He envisions AI-powered solutions for all of these challenges.
Okay.
Whether it's through, new drugs, targeted brain stimulation, or even those AI coaches that we talked about earlier.
So imagine a world where you could just, get a personalized AI-powered tune-up.
Yeah, like a brain tune-up.
Yeah, for your brain, whenever you're feeling off.
Exactly, whenever you need it.
That's pretty amazing.
It is, and Amodei goes even further. He talks about improving the baseline human experience.
The baseline human experience?
Yeah, making those peak moments of joy, creativity, fulfillment.
Okay.
More frequent and more accessible.
So being able to tap into those states of mind.
Yeah.
More easily.
More easily, more reliably.
Wow, that's a tantalizing vision.
It is, isn't it?
It really is. So we've explored how AI could revolutionize biology and, our minds.
Yeah.
But what about the bigger picture? Can AI actually help us solve some of the world's most pressing problems? It's like poverty and inequality.
That's where we get into the third area that Amodei covers, economic development.
Okay.
And this is where things get, I think, a little bit more nuanced.
Okay.
He acknowledges that technology alone can't solve these complex social problems.
Right. We can't just throw technology at poverty
exactly
and expect it to disappear.
It's not a magic bullet.
Right.
But he does see AI having a huge role to play.
Okay, I'm curious to hear how he thinks AI can contribute to solutions.
So he starts by focusing on the global distribution of those incredible health interventions that we discussed earlier.
Okay.
He believes that AI could play a key role in eradicating diseases like AIDS, malaria, parasitic worms, particularly in developing countries.
Yeah, those diseases have a devastating impact on economies.
Absolutely.
And quality of life.
And they keep people trapped in poverty.
Yeah.
So eradicating them would be a major victory.
It would, for sure. What else?
He also sees AI as a potential driver of economic growth, especially in the developing world. Yeah. He points to the East Asian miracle of the late 20th century.
Okay, I've heard of that.
Where countries like South Korea and Taiwan achieved these sustained economic growth rates of 10% or more.
Wow, 10%.
Yeah. Amodei suggests that AI could help replicate that.
In other parts of the world?
In other parts of the world.
So is he talking about AI acting as like a supercharged economic advisor?
Yeah, kind of like a super economist, helping governments make smarter decisions about investments and policies.
That's interesting.
He also envisions AI accelerating the development of other technologies that could benefit everyone, like clean energy, more efficient transportation systems, improved food production.
Okay.
The idea is that these innovations would spread rapidly,
okay,
boosting economies and improving lives around the world.
So that's a pretty optimistic view.
It is.
Of AI's potential to address global poverty and inequality.
It is. Right. It is important to acknowledge the potential downsides.
Right, because there are always downsides.
There are always downsides.
What about the risks that AI could actually worsen these problems?
Yeah, that's a very valid concern.
Yeah.
And Amodei doesn't shy away from it. He acknowledges that AI could exacerbate existing inequalities.
Okay.
Especially if access to these transformative technologies is limited to the wealthy.
Right. So it's like any powerful tool.
Yeah.
It can be used for good or for bad.
Exactly. And that's why Amodei emphasizes the importance of being proactive and intentional about how we develop and deploy these technologies.
Yeah.
He sees it as a moral imperative to ensure that AI is used to create a more just and equitable world for everyone, not just a select few.
It's a crucial point, for sure. Okay. So we've talked about how AI could transform healthcare, our minds, even global economies.
Yeah.
But there's another big question looming over all of this.
Yeah.
What about peace and governance?
Right.
Can AI help us create a more peaceful and democratic world?
That's the fourth area that Amodei explores, and it's perhaps the one where he's the most cautious.
Okay.
He acknowledges that AI can be used for both good and bad when it comes to conflict and governance.
Yeah.
On the one hand, it could help us develop more effective peacekeeping tools, strengthen democracy, promote cooperation between nations.
Okay.
But on the other hand, it could be used to create more sophisticated autonomous weapons, enhance surveillance systems, even empower authoritarian regimes.
Right. It's a double-edged sword.
It's a very powerful tool. Yeah. And like any powerful tool, it can be used for good or for bad.
So it sounds like AI could just as easily lead to a dystopian future as a utopian one when it comes to global politics and conflict.
Right. It really depends on how we use it.
So what does Amodei suggest we do to ensure that AI is used for good in this realm?
So he outlines what he calls an entente strategy.
Entente strategy.
Which basically involves democratic countries working together to gain an advantage in AI development.
Okay. And then using that advantage to promote global cooperation and democratic values.
So it's kind of a strength through unity approach.
Exactly. Amodei believes that this is the best way to prevent a future.
Okay.
Where AI is controlled by authoritarian regimes or used to fuel global conflict.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
Like the old saying, the only thing that can stop a bad guy with AI is a good guy with AI.
Exactly.
But beyond, international relations, Amodei also talks about how AI could be used to improve governance within democratic countries, right?
Right. He sees AI playing a role in making our legal and judicial systems more impartial, empowering citizens with information, and streamlining government services.
So AI could help us make our democracies more efficient, more transparent, more responsive to the needs of citizens.
Exactly. He envisions a world where AI helps us create a more just and equitable society, where the rule of law is upheld and where citizens have a greater say in how they're governed. Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here. AI potentially transforming healthcare, our minds, global economies, even governance.
Yeah.
But there's one big question looming over all of this.
What about us?
What happens to us?
Yeah.
What happens to human work and meaning in a world where AI can do almost everything better than we can?
That's the fifth and final area that Amodei explores, and it's, I think, the question that a lot of people are grappling with.
Yeah.
He acknowledges that AI will inevitably displace many jobs.
Yeah.
But he also believes that it will create new opportunities.
Okay.
And even free us up to pursue more meaningful endeavors.
Okay.
It's a question of kind of how we adapt
Yeah.
to a world where traditional work might look very different.
Yeah, it's like that classic sci-fi thing, right?
Yeah.
Robots are going to take our jobs.
Right.
But maybe it's not all bad.
Yeah, maybe it's not the dystopia that we always imagine.
Right. Amodei seems to be suggesting that this shift
Yeah.
could actually be like a good thing for humanity.
It could be an opportunity.
Okay, I'm trying to wrap my head around this.
Yeah.
Like, what would a world without traditional work even look like?
Yeah.
What would people do with all their time?
That's the big question, is that?
Yeah.
And Amodei acknowledges that this transition won't be easy for everyone.
Right.
You know, some people find deep meaning and purpose in their work.
Yeah.
And their identities are very closely tied to their professions.
Right. Like what they do is a big part of who they are.
Exactly. So it's understandable to feel apprehensive about a future where those jobs might not exist.
Right. And let's be real, it's not just about finding things to like fill our time.
Yeah.
There's the whole economic side of things too.
Right.
Like how do we survive in a world where AI can do most jobs better and cheaper than us?
Right. Are we talking about universal basic income?
Yeah.
Are we talking about some kind of, AI-driven welfare state?
These are big questions.
Big questions. And Amodei kind of explores a few different possibilities.
Okay.
So in the short term,
Yeah.
he believes that this principle of comparative advantage
Okay.
will still apply.
Okay, so remind me what competitive advantage is.
Essentially, it means that even if AI is superior overall,
Yeah.
humans will likely specialize in tasks where they have a relative edge
Okay.
over AI.
So like things that AI is not as good at.
Right, or things that, humans just enjoy doing more
Okay.
and are therefore willing to do for less, perhaps.
Okay, so we're talking about humans and AI like working together,
Yeah.
each kind of like leveraging their strengths.
Exactly, kind of a symbiotic relationship.
Okay, I like that it's not necessarily this like us versus them situation.
Right.
It's more like how can we work together to create something even better?
Yeah, and Amodei even suggests that this could lead to higher wages.
High wages.
For those specialized skills.
Okay.
Where humans still have that edge.
Interesting. Okay, so that's the short term, but what about the long term?
Yeah, the long term is where things get really, really interesting.
Okay.
Because Amodei acknowledges that, eventually we might need to completely rethink our economic systems.
Like from the ground up.
Yeah, he doesn't offer any concrete solutions.
Okay.
But he throws out some really interesting ideas.
Okay, give me some of these ideas.
So, for example, he talks about AI-powered economies.
AI-powered economies. Okay.
That reward uniquely human qualities.
Okay, like what?
Like creativity.
Okay.
Empathy. Critical thinking.
Things that AI, at least for now,
Yeah.
struggles with.
Exactly. So it's like we would need to redefine what we value as a society.
Okay.
And create economic systems that actually reflect those values.
Okay, so instead of being paid for, like, our labor maybe would be compensated for, like, our contributions to art or culture or community building things that AI can't replicate.
That's one possibility.
Okay, that's pretty wild.
It is. It's a very different way of thinking about work and value.
It is.
He also talks about systems where we're rewarded for activities that benefit society as a whole.
Okay.
Even if they don't have a direct economic value.
Okay, like what kind of activities are we talking about here?
So things like caring for our families.
Okay.
Volunteering in our communities.
Yeah.
Pursuing knowledge and self-improvement.
Interesting. So it's like we're being rewarded for being good humans.
Yeah.
Contributing to, like, the overall well-being of society.
Exactly. It's a very different way of thinking about work and value.
Yeah, this is mind-blowing.
It is.
To think about a future where our understanding of work and value is, like, completely upended.
Yeah, it's a radical shift.
But in a way, it's also kind of liberating.
Yeah.
Isn't it? Like, it opens up the possibility of creating a society where people are, like, free to pursue their passions.
Yeah.
And contribute to the world in ways that are truly meaningful to them.
I think that's exactly what Amodei is getting at.
Okay.
You know, he argues that we shouldn't equate meaning solely with economic labor.
Right, like a job doesn't have to be your whole life.
Exactly.
All
you
right.
know, we find purpose in relationships,
Right.
creative pursuits, hobbies, learning new things.
Yeah.
All these activities can give our lives meaning.
Absolutely.
And AI can't take those things away from us. In fact, AI could even enhance them.
Enhance them.
By giving us more time and resources to devote to those pursuits.
So if we're not spending all our time working,
Right.
we can actually have more time to do the things that we actually enjoy.
Exactly. And to connect with the people we love.
Yeah, that's a really compelling argument.
I think so.
And it kind of ties back to what we were talking about earlier, you know, the compressed 21st century.
Yeah.
Like, if AI can accelerate progress in areas like biology and neuroscience,
Right.
it could free us from the burdens of disease and drudgery.
Yeah.
And give us more time and energy.
Exact.
To focus on what truly matters.
I mean, what gives us meaning.
Right, like what actually makes us happy.
Exactly.
Okay, so it's like Amodei is suggesting that AI could create the conditions for a kind of like renaissance of human potential.
I think that's a great way to put it.
A flourishing of creativity, exploration, self-discovery.
Yeah, a real flowering of human potential.
Yeah, that's a really inspiring vision.
It is.
But I gotta admit, it's also a bit daunting.
It is.
Like, it requires us to confront some fundamental questions.
Yeah.
About what it means to be human and what we want our future to look like.
It does, and it requires us to be active participants in shaping that future.
Yeah.
You know, Amodei's overall message, I think, is that AI isn't some predetermined destiny. It's a tool.
It's a tool.
And it's up to us to decide how we use that tool and what kind of world we want to create with it.
That's a really powerful message.
It is.
This deep dive has been like a whirlwind.
It has.
Of ideas and possibilities. A glimpse into a future that's both exciting and kind of uncertain.
Yeah, there's a lot we don't know.
Right.
But there's also a lot to be hopeful for.
Absolutely. We've explored how AI could transform our health, our minds, our economies, even our systems of governance.
It's pretty amazing.
But ultimately it all comes down to this.
Yeah.
What kind of future do you want to see?
Yeah, what do you want?
And what role are you going to play in making that future a reality?
That's the question we all need to be asking ourselves.
It is. And I think this deep dive has given us some good food for thought.
Yeah.
Some inspiration, maybe even a little bit of hope.
Yeah, a little bit of optimism.
I know it has for me.
Good.
And I hope it has for you too, dear listener.
Yeah.
We've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive.
We have.
And there's so much more to explore.
Always.
But for now.
Yeah.
We'll leave you with that final thought.
Okay.
What will you do?
Yeah.
With the extraordinary possibilities that AI might unlock?
It's an exciting time to be alive.
It is. What seeds of change will you plant today to create the world you want to see tomorrow?
Big question.
They are big questions. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into machines of loving grace.
Yeah. Thanks for listening.
We'll see you next time for another fascinating exploration of the future.
Until then, I am